meeting, and this meeting is going to help make the historic district stronger. But first I'd say we should honor our country by standing and saying the Pledge of Allegiance. If possible.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Before the meeting starts, I'd like to do a short presentation. So if I go too long, raise your hand. First, I think not too many of us here know how the historic district was formed. Back in 1978, Ted and Fred Shaner sold their feed mill and flour mill and fertilizer business to Haviland Corporation, which is now Wilbur Ellis. In the deal, Haviland bought the feed mill with a stipulation it was to be used for a historic park. So they traded that feed mill for the lot that's on Old 31, Oceana Drive, where Wilbur Ellis is now, in 1978. If you visit the feed mill, it is registered on the historic roster. It kind of drifted for under 10 years. In 1988, a group from Elbridge wanted to save United Brethren Church. But they found out if they restored it out there, it might be impossible to insure it. Anyway, the two groups, it hadn't done too much with the feed mill. The people merged together after about a year of negotiating between the city and the Elbridge people. In 1990, the church was moved to town. And actually at that time, this facility was a fish factory. So from then till currently 2024, everything is expanded into 10 buildings and 16 exhibits. The building you're in is 20,000 square feet. We bought it at a tax sale in 2002, complete with the smell of rotten fish. So from then it has expanded up until now. Some of the other things that's happened is, like I'd like to bring you up to date, is the events that happened here so far this year. So far this year we had a car show, 77 cars registered, around 800 spectators. Second thing we had was concerts, 6 of them. Between the 6 concerts, I'd say we had approximately 700 to 900 people attend. We also had 17 rentals for the church, this building here, the open pavilion, which probably had around 1,200 attendants for them 17 rentals. And last of all, we do tours July, August, and September till September 15th. Paying tours and registered tours, 650. So the district is pretty viable and doing pretty good right now. So in the end, the reason we're here tonight is the time for a transition. I've been involved since 1989. They threw the president out, and I'm 5 years older than him, so I hope I stay at least tonight. But I am going to resign from a part-time employee December 1st and be available just as an advisor or maybe 1 or 2 days a week. Enough said about that. Is there any questions? Okay, then, everybody got a large packet. The packet is mostly info for after you leave the meeting. Pretty much this year's business, income, expenses, and everything that happened. We're gonna suspend that and let you do that with homework. We would like to go to some of our displays. You keep looking at them all around here. We still keep getting them in, but we're pretty full. But the last one we got in was last week, is a railroad display. Railroad brochures from 1969 back to 1940s. We're building a shadow box like these here to install it. It was one man's collection. His grandson just gave them to us last week. I think enough for that. I think we should get into the regular business, which is new business. All the rest is self-explanatory in your packet. New business, we have run at Short and a club has run the historic district, put up the historic displays and everything since 1989. We run short on membership. We don't have enough to even have a quorum now. So tonight I would like to do one of two things. Establish a new membership and board members, or we go into an upstage, into a transfer where the city will be running the park under the Parks and Recreation with Chris here being head of it, and we will be secondary. This kind of means that everybody here should probably try to make it a point to donate at least 50 hours a year. Because we'd still like to do the car shows and everything, but Chris doesn't have that type of resources. So the floor is open for nominations for president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer. Or we can suspend that and go to the next agenda. I'm assuming we're going to the next agenda. So,
could we move that agenda item to the end of the meeting?
pardon?
Could we move that agenda item to the end of the meeting?
That's why I shouldn't be
Can
here.
we use that agenda item and move it to the end of the meeting and
Okay.
bring it up?
Okay. So actually what we should, the main reason that we're here tonight is to get a viable, good agreement for the exhibitors during this transition. And I don't think we should do it tonight. I think we should set up a committee, and the committee form an agreement, and then we may call another meeting or do it through email or mail for the okay of the 10 major exhibitors here. Does anybody have any questions? Yes,
What happens if you don't establish a new officers tonight?
then I can't hear you. That's why I'm resigning. I don't even hear on the telephone.
What happens if you don't establish officers tonight?
Then we move to the next stage for Parks and Recreation. Director will be running the historic district. Next. But when he runs it, I feel that the last 2 pages is our organization, which is a 501c3, Hart Area Preservation Group, and we have a lease with the city that was signed in 2005. 10-year increments, renewable every 10 years for 100 years. Been renewed twice. Once, really. If we disband Hart Area Preservation Group, then the exhibitors need a new viable agreement on their exhibits. And that's the main purpose of this meeting, is to protect the exhibits. You would have to be a tour guide here to appreciate how much the public appreciates this. People from California rave over it, and Washington DC this summer, both that. Everybody raves after they see it. They come here thinking we're gonna have a half hour, 2 hours later they're through on the interior of the exhibit building, and then they've got to spend another hour on the outer buildings, which is 10 of them, and that. So, I think the main purpose was, I felt as acting manager or acting person running the preservation group, we do not have the power to transfer the exhibits. Although there is a clause how the city can dispose of it, and I think they've had a change of mind. It would like to see this become more viable, more of an asset to the community. I would be asking at this time, go ahead, Rob.
I don't want to take over your meeting,
Go ahead.
okay,
What you got to say?
but I will. I guess I came tonight, and I think there's community comments is towards the top end of the agenda. I believe anyone that's walked through the museum and through the buildings here at the Historic District, I think it's clear the value that this holds. I think the amount of collections and the breadth of the collections and how important they are to West Michigan is really a jewel for the city of Hart to have. I think that for what 30 or 40 years of effort has put together here, it would be a shame to lose it. Just because we had a short-term lack of interest, maybe at a time where it could be a good time to transition from what we've seen grow over the last 3 or 4 decades and start to vision what it looks like 3 or 4 decades from now. I guess I have a few different things that I'd like to touch on. I'm going to try to make it as brief as possible. In response to Russ's comments about the collections and displays reverting to the family who donated it, that is in the founding charter of the Historic Preservation Group. I would agree. I think at such time that it's no longer going to be used as a museum or in another museum's capacity, absolutely those collections belong to the heirs or the people that donated them. That said, when I read the words, they specifically say, if in case the Historic District closes, any collection or display reverts back to the family who donated it or goes to another historical museum. I would say we could interpret that to mean maybe that's not specifically the Hart Historic Preservation Group, maybe that's referring more to the Historic District. So my thought is, we have had a lot of discussion with the City of Hart's new Park and Recreation Department, assuming some oversight and operations of the district. So I think we've got a path. If the preservation group no longer exists as a 501c3 nonprofit organization, we've still got a plan to operate the museum in its current capacity. So my ask would be that we don't make a knee-jerk reaction or instant reaction here, because if some of these really important pieces of the collections go away, it really compromises the ability to run it as a museum. That quickly starts a lot of other conversations that really, I believe, may be to the detriment of all the sweat equity, blood, sweat, and tears that these people have put in for decades. So my proposal is I would like an interim board to take over. I believe the current board has made it clear that they've put a lot of their life into this place, and I would love to see an interim board, whether that's people that are here tonight or not, take the charge to handle this next step, which likely is going to be visioning. Visioning what we like about the Historic District today, and then visioning what we'd like to see here in years upcoming. I did print out a piece of the city's charter. There's extra copies on the back desks, but basically, when I looked at chapter 1255 of the City of Hart's code, it talks about permitted uses in the historic district. Those include retail businesses that have a historic theme in line with souvenir-type commodities, personal service establishments that are directly associated with the historic theme of the district, display, sale, demonstration of crafts and trades, again, directly associated with the theme of the district. It also talks about the possibility of restaurants or taverns, catering establishments, or other food services associated with community activity. It talks about fraternal organizations or social clubs, the potential for small bed and breakfasts that may exist with a maximum of 6 rooms available for rent. As I read through some of these, I don't know that any of them is a good fit for the historic district, but I know that it's likely worth a conversation. Maybe that's it. I appreciate everyone coming tonight. What I would propose, if we could, is that perhaps we've got 7 people in this room that would be willing to be a chair and a vice chair, a secretary and a treasurer, and the remaining board members. Perhaps we could put a time on it, saying we want 12 months, or maybe that's a 24-month project. But my hope is that we could engage the Hart Economic and Redevelopment team, our city council, and other local stakeholders to put a 12-month project in place to spend some real time getting public input from the citizens of Hart and area residents, and look at visioning and say, is this the highest and best use of this property for our community? And in 12 months, maybe that answer is there. I personally think it is, but I'd also like to see new people with new ideas to take what's currently here, which is amazing, and just take it to that next level so it's something that we could draw regionally, nationally, maybe worldwide. We've got a lot here and we should be proud of it. That's all.
You're doing so good, I'll let you finish.